Assalamu alaikum. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. In today's video, we will discuss the summary of an important work of Imam Abu Hamid Al Ghazali, rahmatullahi ta'ala alayhi, named Tahafut al-Falasifah. Let me start with the historical background of the book. During 11th century, many different sects had started approaching both religious and non-religious, like philosophers and the religious sects like Ismaili Shia, who had incorporated many beliefs into their theology and philosophical teachings. So it became important for Imam Ghazali to refute them. Introduction. The Incoherence of the Philosophers, Tahafut al-Falasifah, is an Islamic philosophical and theological work written by Imam Abu Hamid Al Ghazali, rahmatullahi ta'ala. The book is a critique of philosophical ideas of the Islamic philosophers, particularly Avicenna or Ibn Sina and Abu Nasr al-Farabi, who had great impact during that time on their followers, both from philosophical background and religious background. So, main arguments of the book. Imam Al-Ghazali's main argument is that the philosophers' views on Islamic metaphysics and theology are flawed and inconsistent with Islamic theology. He identifies 20 propositions that he considers to be heretical or inconsistent with Islamic doctrine. Imam Al-Ghazali critiques the philosophers on several grounds. First, limitations of reason. He argues that reason is limited and cannot be comprehend the nature of God or the universe. Second, inconsistencies in philosophical views. Imam Al-Ghazali points out inconsistencies in the philosophers' views on topics such as nature of God, the universe, and the afterlife. Third, lack of empirical evidence. He argues that the philosophers' views are based on unproven assumptions and lack of empirical evidence. Also, he argues their view lack the logical as well as practical regards. Key chapters. The book is divided into 20 chapters, each addressing a specific philosophical proposition. Some of the key chapters include view of causality. Imam Al-Ghazali argues that the philosopher's view of causality is flawed and that God is the sole cause of life or of all events. View of nature of God. Imam Al-Ghazali critiques the philosopher's view of God as a necessary being and argues that God's existence is not necessary in the philosophical sense, as they had completely deviated their view on the nature. View of afterlife. Imam Al-Ghazali argues that the philosopher's view of the afterlife is inconsistent with Islamic doctrine and that the afterlife is a matter of faith. Impact. The incoherence of the philosophers or Tahafut al-Falasifah had a significant impact on Islamic philosophy and theology. It led to a re-evaluation of the role of reason and philosophy in Islamic thought and paved the way for future critics of philosophy. Overall, the Incoherence of the Philosophers is a thought-provoking work that challenges the reader to think critically about the relation between faith and reason.